Okay, so by now, most people have seen the trailer for the new Madam Web movie. And I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people be really excited for it. That's the only correct answer, by the way. I've heard some people asking why it even exists. I'm just gonna say there are 1,000 bad superhero movies focused on men. We deserve some mediocre filmmaking too, okay? Without worrying that it's gonna be the last representation that we ever get. Also, there are some amazing women in the Spider-Verse, and there's so many of them, and it's time they get their attention because they deserve it. But most casual viewers don't know why it's being made because they have no idea who Madam Web is. And that's fair. So here we go. Here's your background on Madam Web and the other wonderful women that are going to be making an appearance in this movie. Madam Web first appeared in 1980 in The Amazing Spider-Man number 210. In the comics, she's paralyzed and blind, so it seems that we're omitting that part of her character, but who knows, maybe we'll get there by the end of the movie. That said, she is clairvoyant and precognitive, so at least that part seems to be accurate. Madam Web is Maddie Franklin's mentor of sorts. So Maddie Franklin, who is also in the film, is the third woman to take up the mantle of Spider-Woman. Julie Carpenter, played by Sydney Sweeney, is the second Madam Web. So as our original Madam Web is dying, she passes her psychic powers to Julia. So in the comics, they are all connected. I just want to be very clear about this. They didn't just go, oh, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl, we're throwing you in a movie. No. These women all have a long history of being interconnected in the comics. A long history. Again, first appearance, 1980. I don't want to hear a single thing about forced diversity in this movie because I swear to God I'm going to lose it. These characters have been around forever. You're fine. Okay, moving on. Before she was the next Madam Web, Julia Carpenter was the second iteration of both Spider-Woman and Arachne. She made her Spider-Woman debut in Secret Wars 1984 and was a supporting character for Maddie Franklin's Spider-Woman. So again, lots of crossover between these women. Anya Corazon is Arana, and she was the star of Amazing Fantasy in 2004. She eventually becomes Spider-Girl. Anya is one of many superwomen that have been depowered simply because the writers felt like it. I would like to reiterate once again that when male superheroes are depowered, they are almost always returned to their original state of power when they come back, because they always do, because it's a comic book, no one stays dead. This is simply not the case when female heroes get depowered. As Anya was depowered when she became Spider-Girl, the writers felt no need to give her any powers any superpowers when she came back. So as Arana, she was depowered. When she came back to become Spider-Girl, no powers whatsoever. I'm just gonna let that sit there because I want you to go ahead and think of all the versions of Spider-Man. Please name one that doesn't have any superpowers. I rest my case. Now, I'm not sure what universe this movie takes place in, as it also stars Mary Parker, who is in fact Peter Parker's mother. Mary Parker was a special agent, one that saved Logan, who most of you know as Wolverine. Her undercover work with her husband is what ultimately led to their deaths, which is why in every iteration, Peter is raised by his aunt and uncle. And last but not least, of course, Maddie Franklin, who we have mentioned but not gotten into yet. Maddie was the third iteration of Spider-Woman, but she was also J. Jonah Jameson's niece, not in a blood-related way, but in like her dad's best friend kind of way. She made her first appearance in the Spectacular Spider-Man number 262 in 1998. Though she was nothing but a shadow, she just kind of appeared at the end of that comic. Her first real appearance was the Amazing Spider-Man number 441, and her first appearance as a superhero was in the Amazing Spider-Man number 5 in 1999. Don't think too hard about that numbering, how that numbering system works. You will give yourself a headache. So she goes through many power fluctuations, originally having essentially Spider-Man's powers and eventually getting the superpowers of all of Spider-Woman's previous and original owners. But as those powers kind of dissipated and returned back to their rightful people, she was left with her original powers, which was, again, just the powers of Spider-Man. Now, I'm personally very excited for the Madam Web movie. These are not random characters that were thrown together for the purposes of a woman movie. These are characters that have a long history of not only interacting in the comics, but having full relationships and experiences with each other. Nothing about their team is random. It's quite literally the opposite. This seems to be one of the first superhero movies where the writers actually did some research. So it's going to be really good, and I'm very excited about it.